right now, I fucking love like what we got because it's almost like we filtered all of these dumbasses and we have the best like fan base in the history of JK.
Yeah.
It's like quality over quantity.
It would be nice to pay the rent though.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's get big. Let's blow up. Let's sell out. We're gonna sell out. Yeah.
Welcome back to JK Office Hours Part 2.
Whoop.
We're confronting Joe and Bart about all of our grievances.
What was the thing you were just saying?
Yeah.
When we cut you off to start recording.
He says he invents everything and then everyone.
Not bad.
Which is true, by the way.
He stole his ideas.
You were saying something production-wise.
We were talking about how to make the concept of live streams work and then how they work in general in Vegas if we were going to do that. From an operations standpoint, I do think that there's an efficiency element to it because then if we're doing live streams, then there's no editing that has to happen in post-production.
So we could fire Cannon, his team.
Yeah, the most expensive, unnecessary part.
We'll save so much.
And then on the other hand, too, from an efficiency point of view, too, like in terms of the topics, the discussions, the things that we would actually like figure out and talk about, there's also an efficiency by way of interacting with the people live as the content fuel and creativeness.
Rather than interacting with them 3 weeks after we filmed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people think that's cool.
It's a great idea. I've always loved live streaming. I just never cracked the code of how to make it happen because we didn't have internet in this office when we were an internet company for the first 15 years.
Very true.
That
It was
is crazy.
very bad for a long time.
But
Were you here, Steve, when we started filming and there was no Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, no, the Wi-Fi just didn't work.
Well, you know why? They didn't have f***ing cables installed.
I think we ended up having to put like T1 in or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
like $300 a month or something.
You guys had actual TV.
No, we had satellite.
Yeah, it was a satellite.
And it was really shoddy Wi-Fi. Yeah, that was the first time when we got it. And then we found out that the cable company
I
actually
came here
ran some shit.
2015 for the first time. And you guys had the satellite.
So for lives, how typically like it's what we did last time was, I want to say like kind of an anomaly because normally we probably wouldn't do 12 hours.
for sure, no.
But that is kind of what, let's say if you're competing against some kid, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, for live streams, go for like 5-8 hours.
So it's a little bit like,
Well, I think ours will still be news-based.
it would be news-based?
I think so. I mean, if we're JK News and this is just a different version of JK News, I wouldn't necessarily stray too far away from like what it is that people enjoy coming.
What if
You don't want to do 8 hours of us like making fun of your career?
Kind of
I have a feeling no matter what the fuck we do, you're
Write
gonna
that
do
down.
that.
Write that down. Someone write that down. No, but imagine like usually as a host, right? We're up at
This
we're up
is
at,
my career. It's you guys
Nice.
too.
So imagine it's like 10:30 p.m. night before we shoot, right? And like we're trying to come up with the format for tomorrow. We're coming up with articles, blah blah blah. Right. Instead, you wake up, you grab the fucking news articles. We go to the office, wherever the fuck, and we film it live.
So it's like breaking news is happening
it.
throughout the day.
That's it.
And then we're just talking, chilling.
Live doing
and
it.
as things pop up throughout the day, it's just, we're like a CNN fucking talking head.
That's it.
This
And
just
also
in.
imagine our followers and our fans who are tuned in live. They're sending us news link, and we're like, all right, we're gonna choose this. Let's talk about
Pick
this.
it. Oh wow, that's a Pornhub link. Thanks. Wow.
You want to hear an interesting thing
should
that
click on that.
I kind of noticed that this might be a good thing or bad thing. It weirds me out a little bit that the reason to keep things news is just because it's called JK News. If you look around at the world around you now, everybody's channel is news. They just don't say they're news. Everybody is on it. If you scroll through shorts, someone's giving you news. They're not a news channel. They're just a person.
We're not a news channel.
But we don't have to keep doing everything because it's JK News. You could just do whatever you want, and news is naturally a part of people's content.
Yeah, but I agree. But what are we interested in that day? Really is what you bring in, right?
Yeah.
He's saying change the name and change the branding.
I'm saying that like news is this room, but like if you do a new thing over there,
Yeah.
like you don't. I think it's redundant nowadays to be like, oh, we're JK News. Here's some news.
I guess it would be to me, and obviously still comes down to you guys. Like, there's like a part of me that's like, is there a point in reinventing the wheel when we could just redesign it?
We call it JK Foos.
Think we nailed it.
To be honest,
Because like we said, news is the jumping off point for us to be ourselves and shit, right?
Yeah.
Just
But,
kidding,
like-
fools.
Sure, as long as we could jump off and be ourselves versus like come up with a bunch of new series and games and like, you know, have to like build a whole.
No, but I think you could still be news without having to say news, because I think your people's first impression, if you're trying to get a new audience, is like,
So like careful news?
no, I mean like, is
News. You're saying more news.
I'm saying if something's called something news,
The most news of the news channels.
does it make you in today's society gravitate?
But then how will people know we're doing news?
fuckers, dude?
Wait, so you're saying
No, I-
rebrand it but don't rebrand it?
It's like The Onion, right? They just call themselves.
No, what he's talking about is like Joe Rogan, Genius Brain,
Yeah.
Tiger Belly,
Exactly.
all talk about the news.
They're all still talking about news.
exactly-
They're all talking about current events.
They're just not called Tiger News because some people don't feel like news.
I
and they
know,
won't
but I
watch
already
it.
spent so much money doing the paperwork and shit, and we gotta do all that. Okay, what do you want to
No,
do?
I mean not to change this. I mean if we do something
filed the
new,
like
if we
a
do
like a
something-
Careful Boys channel or something.
Yeah, if we do something new,
Okay.
I think you don't need to say it's news.
Could it be something else but under the Just Kidding News channel? Or you want to start a new channel?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just know
we can
that
revive another channel. You know, it has 1 million subs
I know,
that
I've
we can
seen 'em.
use.
I've seen when people are asking for them. But the
We
same
can
way the
use
same way
it.
they're like, do Ask the Feels, do Party.
Ask the boys.
But they're not wrong. Look, ask.
But we can change. We could change the name on it.
Is that not consistently rewarded, by the way? Like every time we talk about relationship stuff, that shit works, right? So we know that shit gets a pop. So it's not like it's like
They love relationship stuff, yeah.
Exactly. So we deliver on the promise of the premise, but then we're not titling it that. We're calling it shaky news. So you're exactly right. So we should just call it news, maybe.
News,
Excellent. Is there a world where you guys could like actually get fans to call in with like relationship problems? Well, that's what X the Feels was.
Well, that's hard to do these days.
production
Unless it was
Yeah,
live
yeah,
streamed
yeah.
though.
But if they call into a voicemail, like, you think that could be a
so
thing?
hard to
Remember
produce
how
that.
you told us that like, remember how Joe you said that before the real news channels started having YouTube channels, it was popping off because
It was.
But now that the real news channels are the news
we get
channels
drowned
on YouTube,
Yeah, they're not finding.
Why
us.
wouldn't you just watch that? Why would you like
You want the perspective.
You're gonna be looking them up to say something here.
Ryan's right. We're obsolete.
At this point, it's really just a fan service channel.
We're a bucket of bullets.
Like we're here.
What if we lean into that then?
We're really here for the people that have been following us for decades.
I will say this though, the people that I know who I introduced this show to because I exist on this show, they really like it. So there's something here that kind of works.
There's a lot of people that comment, "Why aren't these guys bigger?" And I'm all like, "Because they don't put effort in."
It's just a lot, man.
How about let's think about the episodes that popped off outside of our own core audience and what was different then. One thing was when you talked about Miranda Sings.
Yeah.
That went big out. It was an anomaly episode. It like went boing, and there were a bunch of strangers.
Just kidding, gossip. That's what we
No,
need.
all Steve Day has a power that people can't control. Yeah. Scientists are trying
And
to.
that's just outside monetization patterns. Yeah.
If you want to just do it data wise, let's just look at those. And
The data's easy on all Steve Day. We just put in way more time and we're here for way longer.
That's not true. That's a bullshit fucking thing that people say. Fake news.
Not even halfway down the list right now, bro.
It's not
But you
true.
know what I've noticed is just even in this room, right? When we change it up and we do something like OTCs,
Yeah.
like out of the closets,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Those do way better
Yeah.
because it's different. It's always like changing up. So it might be that the whole news thing is like, yeah, we're watching for nostalgia, but we want to see other things.
I think people just want vulnerable stories no matter how it's packaged.
And we used to
that's
do
what
that
I
a
think.
lot.
I think that. Yeah.
I think that's changed a lot actually. I think maybe 2018, 2019, that used to be the bulk of it. We would have jump off stories and then someone would go off into a tangent and talk about an actual event that happened to them. I think this era, even though it's really fun, we have a lot of inside jokes that we kind of like fuck around with, but there's no actual story going on. And I think that's one of the things that there's a huge shift in that maybe people that signed up for the old stuff isn't getting with the new stuff.
I just think that news articles are generally pretty boring.
Yeah.
Like, I really do.
What if we lean to like?
But then back then, you remember, you were part of that era before it, right?
I was there. No, you're
Even
right.
as boring as the news was, though, everyone was able to bring something to it where they actually told a story or it brought something. Like
Well, we
you know
kind of
what I mean?
had to.
I think we tell stories now too. I mean, literally today
We
we've
do,
told
but
a bunch.
it's different, and you know why? What I think it is. I think it's because we know each other so much that we know those stories.
Yeah, so I guess sometimes, but I don't know, man. Sometimes you guys. I mean, today I heard like 4 stories I hadn't heard before.
Hey, what's up, guys? Just in case you've noticed some of these lovely jade pieces on some of our men here, just know that you can get some for yourself over at thejadejewelers.co. Visit our friends here at the site and check out some of the pieces they've got. The selection is massive. You can find all kinds of different designs, and they even do some custom work, so if you want to check them out, we'll be very grateful. We love these guys over at Jade Jewelers, and we're happy for you guys to be able to get the same stuff.
So like, I don't know if it's that. I actually think it's just like, you know, we have a good familiarity with each other, and we can kind of read each other's minds sometimes. Like as far as like, oh, I know he wants to talk. I know he wants to talk. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I think that there's something about just authenticity that people like, right? Like us just being honest and real about what we think, and then sometimes we get too real and everyone's like, oh shit, they're so MAGA and stuff. But then it's like, no, we're just like telling you the real shit about the current world that we think.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad that we did what we did before even fucking Joe Rogan came out and did what he did, because it's like, okay, well that's more authentic that we did it earlier. But like my point is that I think we come from a real place always, and then the seed that whatever tree or plant comes out of that, however fucking green or brown, is what it is in that video, because we do so much fucking content. Like so much.
I think there's also, this is a small thing, but I think it makes a big difference. There's something in the presentation of your first impression when you click on the channel. We need something on the front page, the same way that I updated the banner. It's along the same family. Something that shows that there's a lot of people involved and what places they're from. Like if I was just a random person of today's world and I was young and I didn't know who Steve was, are you kidding? There's so much fucking history behind this guy and you would never know any of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that makes sense. Like the first thing you see should be like JK News is comprised of these individuals from these places that accomplish these things in little boxes.
By the way,
so that you at least know.
When, like you said earlier, when H3H3 talked about this channel, he's like, "What the fuck is this format? This is crazy." Because it is weird, right? Like you just see a camera. It's a podcast, I guess. Even my own best pal in Vegas, he's like, "Oh, it's a podcast." I'm like, "It's not a podcast." And I'm like, "I guess it's a podcast." I'm like, "But is it a podcast?" Like that's how it is.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the fuck it is.
I don't know if it's a channel trailer or if it's a visual graph or something, but like something that conveys why these guys get to say these things. Because we're not talking from just everyone's starting a podcast nowadays. Everyone's got a show.
Yeah.
But then we have experience that a lot of people do not have and will never have again. It's massive too.
Like Ryan from
the.
Nepal. This
But yeah, it's like it's stuff that lends to the context of why this person's talking that way and who they are. So that way, not everything sounds like, well, who the fuck are these guys? You know?
Yeah.
You just have
Yeah.
that impression every time. I think for new people, there's got to be some kind of like a signature you get right.
It's like, hey, JK News. It's like fucking 6 beta males.
Toughest beta males around.
Toughest, confident beta
as
males.
gay as it feels to have to like put a little bit of yourself out there, like you kind of need it
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah,
of like new people seeing the channel.
I also think like we used to collab a lot before too. Like
That's
whenever
dead
when
around the
UTI
world.
comes, all that stuff like
Those are magic.
those
yeah.
videos
are
do
great.
so good, you know. And I miss that, and I think COVID kind of killed it for us. We just have our own little ecosystem. I would like to bring that back, where we work with more people again. Yeah.
But a part of why, like, let's say you had Jimmy Zhang on here, a big asset that we get is that those guys always say, I loved you. I grew up watching you guys.
Yeah.
And then that, whatever, from people from his side that see that, it creates that automatic, like, vetting of, like oh,
they
these guys
co-sign.
are cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
these guys
yeah,
are tight.
yeah,
These guys
yeah.
are tight. You know what I mean? Because as young as you might be and you're watching YouTube and you're scouring it, you're just not going to watch older dudes in you sometimes. Like, some of these kids are just, like, old guys. Meh.
Maybe we should join the Daily Wire, bro.
You think they'll have us?
Yeah, because like old guys is kind of their whole thing.
We got to be the.
But even they got new people.
We're the young guys, bro.
They got girl Ben Shapiro. They got that one black girl. And then they got.
they kicked her out.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they're like, get the fuck out of here.
No, I'm not talking about Candace. I'm talking about the Gen Z one.
Would.
Would.
You know what I'm talking about?
What, dude?
She has long hair.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ben Shapiro's little sister.
No, but the black girl.
Oh, the black girl.
Yeah, there's two. That's like Gen Z. They're like modern and like yeah. Man, I'll call them and say, you guys need a bunch of Asians and like one white dude.
One white dude. And they're like, I think we're good on the white dudes thing. And I'm like, hey, respect.
They should be an ally.
Respect, guys.
Collabing with the younger versions of this is always fucking fun too.
Yeah, but then they'll call us MAGA and they won't want to be around us.
I don't know, maybe don't be so MAGA.
I'm not that MAGA.
Grievances.
I don't think
I'm not. I just Trump. You just brought a Trump flag and I waved it around.
I just think I'm in charge now. I'm in charge of your.
Well, he's a white
your body.
overlord.
Just
remember?
in charge of your
He
body.
runs everything.
Here's a grievance. Here's a grievance, a real one. Like, you guys, I know you're aware that every time you MAGA it out, we lose numbers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that we all knew that.
Feel free to repeat that.
Do you? But
don't care because it's
but don't you MAGA?
Yeah, but then I think
Yeah.
when if you MAGA at a degree,
Yeah.
that's gonna.
Well, I think this is the thing.
The election.
You know what it is?
It's not wrong for you guys to believe it, but
No.
like when we MAGA out, there's a detrimental element.
There's a bunch of people that don't know that we're like,
Satire.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they think we're full on fucking MAGA.
No, the energy satire, but the content is honest.
But you know what though? That's the line of like it's confusing. I get it because it's like, oh, you're kind of real, but then you're also like extremely doing it for fun, but it's kind of off.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I think that's where we shoot ourselves in the foot because it's for self-entertainment, not for
It
the
is fun,
public.
yeah.
And I think that's where we actually fuck up a lot.
Yeah.
We are so much into making each other laugh as friends
We make
and
each other
ourselves
laugh outside people
that we
laugh.
shoot ourselves in the foot because people don't get it and they're like, fuck you guys.
And then we got Bart saying shit like, "Fuck Gavin Newsom, a good man."
But is there a way? Is there any type of way? Because I think the solution
Literally just paying off what you guys are saying.
for every MAGA moment, is there a way that like the problem that I'm seeing is not that you're MAGing out. It's that the MAGing out doesn't add MAGA guys or MAGA viewers or MAGA people.
How do we get the MAGA?
That's what I was trying to tell Steve the other day.
Like,
Also
how do we
though,
get-
it's like
how do we get
it's
them?
election season.
it only loses and it doesn't
no,
gains.
but
this,
you're
you know, like.
That's exactly. I'm on the 100% with you because it's like people that do that, right? Like let's say Andrew Schultz, for example,
yeah.
or a lot of the comedy channels.
They mock it so good.
They're not even MAGAing hard, but they grow their audience.
They interviewed Trump. That's like basically the most MAGA thing you could do.
How do we get the good people that like that?
Am I wrong? That's the most MAGA thing.
You're right. But even before that,
Right.
even before that, they had the audience,
Right.
So
Yeah.
even before that, they're not quite like ostracized by the left audience or whatever, but they still are able to grow that. That's what I'm saying is we're so in the middle that no one likes us.
I also think it depends on I think it depends on the history a little bit. So someone like Bobby Lee, who has been online way longer than Andrew Schultz has since Mad TV days, I think they assume he would be left. So if he came out with any right stuff, which he said himself, he would just get crucified. So he just stays out of politics.
Right.
Andrew Schultz came in during pandemic, being kind of against the grain. So day one, it's like, oh, okay, you're part of this right Joe Rogan, whatever group. Right. So I think the context of how things develop matter. I think for us, we probably fall more into the Bobby Lee category, which is why I think it's a little bit tough. Just like Rob Schneider. Remember he started going right? People are like, what the fuck is this? Fuck you! And they're like, dude, this guy's a legend. But I saw him dropping followers and all that stuff too.
Kevin Sorbo.
So I just think Kevin Sorbo.
That was a big one.
So I just think it depends
Kevin
on.
Sorbo went from little followers to littler followers. That was sad to see.
So I think it really matters, like the whole context of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I ran a poll because I wanted to know like if today, if we start playing around with MAGA content and whatever, like how people would feel about it.
Yeah.
That's
And it-
MAGing out, by the way.
We are
Yeah,
very,
even a
MAGA
poll is.
poll,
Even a
a
poll
MAGA
is.
poll.
but we are
Yeah, even a
very
poll, yeah,
balanced.
yeah.
We are very balanced. There were
only a
a
poll
third
count.
that don't give a fuck, right? And a third who were Kamala supporters, and the third that were Trump supporters. When we did the live stream, I threw the poll live, and it was still like a good number of people that were maybe 25% Kamala and then 30% Trump. And so a lot of our fans who aren't like avid commenters, right? They're like, we get you guys. We get the joke that's going.
Yeah.
I voted for Kamala. I still love you guys.
We love them.
But we can't just. We do say bye and throw away all the people that just go, I'm fucking unfollowing you.
No, Bart says, please stay.
Yeah.
Please stay, please. All caps, please.
Begs. He gets on his knees. Please.
On a business, like just at the end of the day, like I have to agree with Ryan, is like if we are going to play this game, it still has to be beneficial because we lose from both sides. Because we want to be fucking fair and both sides hate us and it doesn't work.
You're telling me we gotta lean into one side?
Well, how do we get this?
No, it's just we have to execute making fun of both sides better.
There's a power vacuum right now in the left. There's a power vacuum. We can take advantage.
We're left now.
We pounce.
Because I highly believe that without changing anything, there's people out there that do ascribe to that humor, and even if you're being serious, they do like that. How do we get them in our numbers? Is like, do we have to like make, I don't know, like handshakes with fucking Black Rifle and everybody under there? Like all these, like who do we need to know in the industry? If
I don't
we're
think
done
it's
making,
strategic.
You don't think it's strategic?
No, I think it's authentic.
But we've never done it. That's the only thing. When
I
you
know,
look at,
but we actually have a good group mind in this room, and then sometimes we do go like to the umpteenth or whatever. But the people who get it. I just for me, it's like I don't know.
but that
man.
number's going down all the time.
Well,
during the election, you're right. I agree with that.
Well, even beyond the election, it's been happening because they just say we're problematic and whatever. My whole thing is there are people like that exist, but we suck at getting in front of those people.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. How do we find those ones? The same way that when we had
We
Matt
don't
Kim-
have to be fully left wing or right wing. We never were that way. But what we've done is done a horrible job of marketing to like-minded individuals.
True.
Because I don't think I know who they specifically are, because when we had the first time we had Matt Kim, the DMs were flooded with people with support of like, I can't wait till he's on. I'm gonna follow him there. I'm gonna watch you guys, whatever. And then when he did come on, all of his audience that I thought were gonna be the ones that are like the new people were like, you guys cuss too much. You guys say too much nasty stuff. How could you have such filth come out of your mouths? And it was like, those were the extreme right. You know what I mean? So like, it's not them. It's someone like a little more left from them.
But just a bunch of fucking old degens is all we are.
Yeah.
Are we aging out?
I honestly think we're just D-gen people, so that's tough. So I think what's tough is like they go, okay, I want to tune into these guys because I see them play basketball and I like the way they play. And then out of nowhere, we just start socking each other in the nuts. And then they're like, wait, this is a weird basketball game. And then so the people that like watching the nut punching, they're like, okay, cool, they're nut punchers. Then we go back to playing basketball. And then over time, we've developed a core group like Melanie and Kiera who are like, I like this nut punching basketball. But I think because we do change and our North Star changes all the time, it makes it hard for people to latch on because sometimes we will do jokes for ourselves versus going, everything is for views. Like if you view the channels, like Nelk Boys, whatever, all those guys, they keep growing in a certain way because they know exactly what every single thing is and they'll waste zero time. If it's all for views, everything is for views, everything's shock value, and they hit that one note over and over. But for us, I think we enjoy having fun so much that sometimes we're like, you know what? Fuck the views. This video's for us. And if they just so happen to catch on to that, they're like, well, fuck, I'm unsubscribing then because it's fucking too crazy. I don't know how to process this. That's what I think it is.
We do get carried away sometimes.
What a conundrum.
And we have a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
We should get the Nelk boys in here.
And that's another thing throughout JK history is we would have people with millions of subs come in here and there's just no crossover. Like we just don't build an audience that way. Our growth has always been people just finding us organically and just sticking for the
like
ride.
randomly.
And then it's like a slow, long growth, but like they stick around forever. So I think the difference is, I also know like a whole other reason why we're not getting like views like we done before. But that's more of an algorithmic. We fucked up.
Yeah.
We actually stopped posting for like 6 months.
Yeah, for almost a year. Yeah.
And that can kill you. But there's growth. Like ever since like we got back together as Careful Boys, like we were laughing at how like we were always stuck at 1.8 million subscribers, and then we surpassed 2 million. It's still growing. Now there's new people coming in and going, I wish I knew you guys. Like right?
Yeah.
So it's there. But I think the actual issue is not getting in front of the eyes of people that are like that. Yeah.
We gotta talk to the Nelk boys, dude.
Yeah.
And Gavin.
Gavin Newsom and the Nelk Boys.
Good man. This guy slanders him. Drags him through the mud.
Yeah, I think it's like a combination of everything, right? Like we want fresh content, we want new shit, we want new formats, keep things fresh, collaborate with newer people, get a new audience. I think it's that. It's just bits and pieces of everything.
Yeah.
It's just like hard to. I hope that we find the balance of it before it's like too late and all we've said is like, nah, it's cool, we're good.
We all G, all Gucci, we Gucci.
You know what I mean? Like it's fun and it's funny and it's us and it's authentic, but like so was everybody else that died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nobody feels sorry for them. They're just
Michael Jackson died, dude.
cool.
He was too authentic. Cost him in the end.
You know what I
Says
mean?
it all right there.
Hey, the fact that we're even having some office hours is very progressive.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool.
Very left.
So,
Very
you know.
progressive.
But at the same time, it's because we're not your bosses and you're not the employees. So you can air whatever you need to because it's more like a collection of people getting together for a project
Yeah.
temporarily. Without scheduled hours, even though we call it office
We
hours.
just show up.
It's hours we all agree upon.
No obligated days.
Like a hangout party.
Kind of like a contract, right?
a clubhouse,
like more
yeah.
of a contractor relationship.
Yeah.
It's like a.
It's a commune.
It's like your city library after school when you just go
Yeah.
hang out.
It's an apple orchard commune.
Well, a part of me also doesn't want new people.
That don't want what?
I fucking love. Okay, so here's the thing. When we were much bigger, there's a lot of issues that come along with that.
Yeah.
Like people that aren't really your fan base will come try to fuck with you, cancel you. Also,
That's true.
there's a lot of infighting within the fan base because it's so big, and there's just so many different. And right now, I fucking love like what we got because it's almost like we filtered all of these dumbasses and we have the best like fan base in the history of JK.
Yeah.
Everyone that's been here for like decades, they understand us. Everyone that has the same kind of like humor and they're like, oh man, I miss this kind of humor. I wish, you know. So like because of that and the connection we're having, it's like so much of a different experience than like it's like quality over quantity.
It would be nice to pay the rent though.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's get big. Let's blow up. Let's sell out. We're gonna sell out. Yeah.
It'd be nice to pay the rent though.